There is a driving ban. We have a number of people that have gone out and driven that are stuck in different parts of the city who are clogging up our 911 system, calling because they are stuck in their vehicles. I have to say that that is not a high priority call at this time. Unfortunately, enough guidance, enough warnings were given for people not to drive their cars. We are still in whiteout conditions. In some cases, with the blowing and drifting snow, visibility is at 0. And now that the sun has gone down and it is dark, it is extremely dangerous being in a vehicle on the road. Our plowing right now is focused on mains and secondaries, primarily mains. We are not in the residentials at all right now. There are a number of tree calls, about 80 calls for trees that have come down. It is estimated by the end of this storm, there might be several hundred trees that are down. The other thing that makes driving dangerous is that there are not only trees that are down, but poles that are down, power lines that are down as well. So driving and even walking out in these conditions is extremely dangerous. We are monitoring our water quality very closely because there has been flooding. There is flooding at a number of our waterfront parks and residences that are on the waterfront. Our waterfront parks have been closed since Thursday at 3 p.m. in anticipation of this flooding. Our water quality is very good. We were concerned about a sage with lake water, and that lake water, kind of like a tidal wave of lake water getting into our water system. Fortunately, that has not happened, and our water quality is very good. Niagara Street at Tonawanda is closed because of flooding. It's closed in both directions. And again, I would stress, please stay off the roads. Do not drive. It is very dangerous out, and people who have not heeded the warnings to not drive are getting stuck on the road. Now I'm going to turn things over for more detail to our Commissioner of Public Works, Nate Martin.
My apologies, I was on mute for a second. Thank you, Mayor. Let me just start by reiterating what the Mayor just said. Please do not go out and drive on these roads. We have our streets crew, and I'll talk about that momentarily, who are still on the roads, working to plow, working the plows on the streets, even with the tough conditions. And they are seeing vehicles out and about and getting stuck. So from a safety perspective for all residents, please stay in. So with that, our crews are on the streets. They've been on the streets since the storm started. As the Mayor said, mains and secondaries, but really mains. We've been running individual plows. We're going to run in tandem, at least minimally now, and focus on those mains. The visibility is poor, as we all can and seen in those light hours outside. So our crews have been able to go continually. They are moving slowly and safely at a pace. They have not pulled off yet. So if the conditions worsen, especially now we're in the dark hours and they need to pull off to the side of the road and stop, they will certainly do so. So from a safety perspective, they are being careful. They continue to work the roads. With the tree down and the emergency calls for trees down, as the Mayor said, we have had a significant number already and anticipate more. Because of the conditions, and again, moving into the nighttime hours, our forestry team has pulled back its operations. They were actually running into very unsafe conditions for themselves. So we've kind of brought conditions to a pause at this point in time, especially over the dark hours. So we'll pick those up as soon as we can as well. Our crews still continue to monitor flooding along any part of the lakefront and waterfront areas. So we are seeing some of that, as the mayor mentioned. So it continues to be an issue, and we have 24/7 work monitoring the water. Again, I'll reiterate that we do have good quality. There are no concerns there at this point in time. It's just something we're continuing to monitor. So from our standpoint, we're about maybe a couple hours from the heaviest winds, those peak gusts up in the 70s that we've been hearing about. Those last for maybe 1 or 2 more hours. The winds will subside a little bit overnight, peak gusts in the 60s, and that'll run throughout the night. So it's still a very dangerous part of the storm. Snow is going to continue to fall. So that those conditions of blizzard conditions, high snow, high winds will continue well into tomorrow. The snowfall is expected to continue and stack up. As the mayor said, those snow totals at the end, 36 to 48, are still projected. National Weather Service is keeping those totals in line. So we'll be dealing with that. And so through the course of the night, we'll be monitoring. Our crews will still be working the streets, and then we'll respond when light comes in the morning and keep on moving. So with that, Mayor, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Chad, we'll go ahead and open up for the questions that the media has.
Okay, we're going to start with Channel 2, WGRZ. Is anybody on from Channel 2 that has a question? All right, none heard. We'll go to Channel 4, WIVB. Is anybody on for a question from Channel 4? All right, none heard. We'll go on to Fox, WUTV. Is anybody on from Fox with a question? None heard. Going on to Channel 7, WKBW. Is anybody on from Channel 7 with a question? All right, none heard. We'll go on to WBEN. Is anybody on from WBEN with a question? Okay, none heard. Buffalo News. Is anyone on for the Buffalo News with a question? All right, none heard.
Harold McNeil, can you hear me?
Now we can. Go ahead, Harold.
Yes, I was wondering how things are going with the emergency shelters. Are they being filled up? Are people availing themselves, to that asset?
The city's 2 warming centers had power go out this afternoon. Ordinarily, we do not get a lot of people at the city's warming shelters. We are working with National Grid right now on restoration of power to those warming shelters, which were scheduled to be open from 9 a.m. To 6 p.m. We're also monitoring very closely the Code Blue shelters. There are between 200 and 300 people reported to be in the Code Blue shelters. They have power at this time. We are monitoring them very closely. And in emergencies, people who need to find shelter can go to the nearest police or fire station.
All right, Spectrum News. Is anyone on from Spectrum News with a question? Okay, none heard. Is there anyone else that has a question for the mayor and the commissioner?
Yeah, I was trying to get a sense of the number of rescues the fire department has made so far today, or do we have any sense of that?
I don't have a number of rescues by the fire department right now. I know that the fire department alternate response vehicles have been out and have been very active. There was a house fire in the city of Buffalo due to downed electrical lines, which created a fire. Those individuals had to be rescued and were rescued successfully from that home. But right now, as we speak, I don't have an actual number of fire rescues. Commissioner Martin, do you have more information there?
No, I don't have I don't have a number either, Mayor, but I do know that the department has been active throughout the course of the day. So.
All right. Any more members of the media with a question? Okay, none heard. Mayor, do you want to go ahead and close this out?
I want to thank the members of the media for tuning in to this briefing. If we do another briefing today, we will give you several hours notice, but that's all the information that we have at this time. Again, as we close out, we would ask people to shelter in place, not to drive and violate the driving ban. And if you lose power in your home, probably the safest place right now is to shelter at home as opposed to go out and to try to find a shelter. Over 20,000 power outages in the city of Buffalo. Restoration has been suspended by National Grid because of the dangerousness of the conditions that we're experiencing. And as soon as conditions subside, when conditions let up, power restoration will resume by National Grid. Thank you all very much.